So we're kind of crazy. And I don't mean we as in audiophiles, I mean we as a people. And I say that because it's like we're programmed to never be content for very long. And it doesn't matter where you are in your life. I mean, you can have this ideal existence to where you earn good money, which affords you a nice home, nice cars, maybe you have a beautiful wife or husband, you have wonderful kids, you're in good health. And even despite all of that, there's still going to be thorns in your side that prevent you from being content for very long. There's always going to be something different, something more, something better that you aspire to. And never more do I see that trait manifest itself in hobbies, particularly hobbies that are very critical in nature, like high-end audio. And the reason why I'm posting this video today is because every single week I receive emails from you all, and many of these emails come from people who are frustrated. They're trying to search for this perfect solution and they can't find it. Some people are just flat out burnt out and they're just in need of guidance. So this video is going to go out to those of you who feel like that you're just this dog chasing its tail, trying to find this perfect ideal solution, and you just want some kind of guidance as to what to do when you're in this situation, because I have been there before. I've also experienced like straight up burnout that took me out of this hobby for a very long time. So I want to have this conversation with you all. Now, to be clear, this video was inspired by two other YouTubers. The first being Steve Guttenbergs. He posted about this topic a while ago. And then more recently, Andrew Robinson did a great video on Hifi addiction, which is definitely worth checking out. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay down my experiences and my take on this subject. So, getting right to it. I think the best way to begin this conversation is to actually relay my own experiences to you. So, in around 2005, I became addicted to Hifi, by which I mean if I had spare money to spend, it would either go towards travel or it would go towards Hifi. And ironically enough, at the time, I had a smart approach in terms of my mentality. You see, I knew everything that I was experiencing was flawed. I wasn't expecting perfection. I was just enjoying the chase. I was enjoying trying out all this different gear because to me, what makes Hifi so cool is that it's art and science that's in honor of art and science. Art being music and science being the recording process and, of course, putting it on media for you to enjoy. So I'm like a magpie drawn to a shiny thing, and Hifi is like my shiny thing. So for a while, I was just having so much fun trying out different gear, albeit on the used market because I definitely couldn't afford new. And for a while, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, from the outside looking in, it looked a little crazy, but again, I was having fun with it until that day came when I really solidified what my tastes were. And then I built in these expectations that I could get everything that I wanted with very few compromises. That is when the problems began, because I found myself listening to the equipment more than I did the music. And what's worse is I was less happy with all this fancy high-end audio gear than I was before I even became an audiophile, and I was just listening to music on a set of cheap PC speakers. And it got to the point to where I finally burned out. I decided, you know what? Screw all of this. I'm going away from Hifi, period. I'm not even going to have a stereo system. I'm probably going to have a decent computer rig, but that is it. Screw that stuff. So between 2010 to 2014, I didn't even pay attention to audio. I didn't go to any of the websites. I didn't read reviews. I was just out until one day my interest suddenly surfaced or resurfaced, and then, well, that's led to where I am today. But the big question is, how do you handle being in that situation? Well, the first thing you should do is to just be real with yourself. All of this stuff sounds fake. It's all flawed. It's not perfect. It's not anywhere close to perfect. And it doesn't matter what your budget is. You can have $1 million to spend on a stereo system, and it is still going to have problems. Now, granted, the higher your budget is, the better chance you have of checking off all those boxes. But still, you need to go into it understanding that there is no such thing as perfection. And there's probably always going to be something wrong with your gear that, guess what? You're not going to be able to really fix it. You could always buy something else, but that something else is going to have its pros and cons too. And you're going to be like a dog chasing his tail. So the best thing you can do is to find out what is important to you in the music listening experience. Find out which gear is going to deliver that experience for you under the budget that you have. And then just accept that it's not going to be perfect. Accept that. And while I'm talking about that, accept the fact that not everyone is going to like your stuff. If you go online and you research things, again, you're going to be like a dog chasing his tail, because one person's going to say this product that you're interested in is amazing, and then the other person's going to say, I heard it, it sucks. It doesn't matter what you own. Everyone's going to think that what you have sucks. Not everyone, but there's going to be people out there who do. Just ignore that. Focus on what it is that you want, and then end up with that solution and accept it's not going to be perfect. And once you do that, I think you'll be good to go. Because you have to remember, the whole entire process is imperfect from the get-go. The very nature of recording music as we do it now via microphones, it's already flawed literally the moment the process begins and the sound hits the microphone. Boom, already flawed. Then it has to go through the equipment, go through the mix-down process. Then there's going to be the media that we listen on. So before you even buy your first component, you're already kind of screwed. So forget the notions of perfection. Figure out what it is that you want, and then try to accrue the components that will make you happy. That's the first thing. Now let's talk about the second thing. And this is a big one. Sometimes you can mentally accept what I just said, but you're always going to wonder, well, what else is out there that may be better than what I have? And this holds true especially today because there's so many really good components out there for the money. And it seems like every single month something new is coming out. You're going to see a review at Zero Fidelity that's saying that, oh man, this component is really good for the money, and that's just going to tempt your wallet just a little bit, or tempt you to reach into your wallet and buy that component. And I get caught in this vicious cycle, albeit with other hobbies. Let me give you an example. Cars. In just the past few years, I purchased 7 cars, most of them being brand new. The ironic thing about that is for most of my life, I've driven a 93 Taurus. Up until literally 2016, that was my main car that I would drive. And I had no interest in automobiles until one day that vehicle died, and I didn't really have too many places to go. It wasn't actually moving anymore for the most part. So I ended up at a Ford dealership. I bought a Mustang, and then bam! Started a vicious cycle. And what made it worse is that I would constantly watch videos on YouTube about cars, which would only feed this interest more. So every time a new thing came out, Camaro SS, yep, I'll buy that. And then the list would go on and on. And for a while, I would be happy with the car, but it would have its faults. And I'd be like, well, I don't want to live with this. Boom, on to the next. Thankfully, I'd like to say I'm out of that cycle. Fingers crossed. But where I'm going with this is sometimes you just need to take a break from the resources that you turn to, maybe for entertainment or information, but can also facilitate this mentality of, oh God, I got to have the next best thing. You don't. That's the cool thing about high-end audio, is that unless you're just on a technical bleeding edge, good hi-fi from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 5 years ago is still good now. Now, granted, if it's 20 plus years old, you may need to recap some of the stuff, but you get what I'm laying down, right? So one of the best pieces of advice I can give to somebody who's in this position is to just, even though it's against my best interest, stop watching sites like Zero Fidelity. Seriously, stop it. Don't watch Zero Fidelity or any of the other hi-fi channels that trigger that natural inclination to want to try out something new, especially if that's not what you're looking for. So try to have the discipline to just unsubscribe to the channels if that's what you have to do. Make sure that when they pop up in your recommendation feed that you click, hey, I'm not interested in this content anymore. So YouTube will, over time, not promote the video and keep tempting you. Again, it's against my own best interest, but I found that this works very well until you can get to a point to where you no longer feel that temptation. Anyways, guys, that's going to be mostly it for now. I would say the only other piece of advice is when you are buying product, I would do it only one of 2 different ways. I would either, number 1, buy it from somebody who offers a trial period, whether it's a consumer direct company and or your local dealer, or buy used. There's Audio Mart, who's now expanded into many different markets. That's a good way to go. Craigslist, believe it or not, Craigslist actually has quite a few really good products depending on where it is you live. AudioGone used to be great, but that's kind of past tense now. But I cut my teeth on the used market, and Hifi depreciates significantly after you buy it, so that's a good way to go in case you do want to continue to try gear just for fun. Maybe you're not addicted yet. But anyways, guys, I'm starting to lose focus of this video, so I think now would be a good time to draw it to a close. I just wanted to post this content because even though I enjoy posting product reviews and I try to produce the most reliable assessment that I can for you guys, I do realize that sometimes this channel borders on facilitating consumerism in an almost negative way. So hopefully this will help to counterbalance that and service those of you who may be a little too deep into this. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.